Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, today we're taking a close look at a really striking case. It's out of New Lenox, Illinois. What seemed like a pretty straightforward private vehicle sale, well, it spun into something far more complex and, honestly, a bit of a stark lesson in modern financial fraud.
Yeah, it's quite the story.
At the heart of it, a man from Chicago, Anthony Huff, he's now accused of pulling off a, well, pretty sophisticated scheme, allegedly using a fake cashier's check to get his hands on a high-value vehicle. Unlawfully, of course.
And this isn't just, a small local thing. It feels like a case study in how these scams work now.
Exactly. Our insights today, they're coming straight from a FOX32 Chicago article. It just came out yesterday, August 22nd, 2025. And it draws directly from the New Lenox Police Department's own reports. So it's fresh, it's relevant, really packed with details.
Good source material, then.
Definitely. And our mission for this deep dive is, well, clear. We're not just recounting events here. We want to really dissect the alleged scheme, understand the precise steps involved, and maybe most importantly, pull out those crucial, actionable insights that can help you navigate these potentially tricky waters of private sales, especially high-value ones.
Right. Think of it as a guide to spotting these things.
Consider it your masterclass in avoiding sophisticated scams. So let's set the scene. This transaction that went sideways. The date was August 16th, location, New Lenox. Anthony Huff meets with a seller. Looks like a standard private sale. But the vehicle involved is key here. It was a Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT8. Now, if you know your performance SUVs, you know this isn't cheap. It's a significant asset. It needs a serious transaction.
Right, a high-ticket item. And what's immediately crucial here, based on the police report, is the payment method they chose. It was a mix. Some cash plus a cashier's check.
Okay, how much cash?
$4,000 in cash. Now, sometimes that cash, even a smaller amount, it can act as a kind of psychological anchor. Makes the whole thing feel more legit up front.
Creates a little trust, maybe?
Exactly. But the vast majority of the payment, the big chunk, a substantial $33,000, that came as a cashier's check. And, for most people, a cashier's check feels really secure, almost like cash itself.
Yeah, you think it's guaranteed by the bank, right? Drawn on their funds.
Precisely. It carries that sort of implicit guarantee, and it's that perception of security that fraudsters absolutely prey upon. They know people trust these checks, and that trust, well, it creates the opening they need.
And that trust, as this case just perfectly illustrates, can be completely misplaced. That $33,000 check, the one that should have been solid, police later confirmed it was totally fake. It's worthless.
A complete fabrication.
So knowing how convincing these fakes can be, what usually happens when a seller tries to deposit one? Like, when do they find out the awful truth?
Well, that's the core of the scam, the mechanism they exploit. When you deposit a cashier's check, even a fake one, your bank often gives you what's called provisional credit, usually within a day or two.
Meaning the money shows up in your account.
Yeah, it looks like it's there. You might even be able to withdraw some of it. But, and this is the crucial part, the check hasn't actually cleared yet. That final settlement, the real clearance, it can take several days, sometimes even weeks, especially if it's drawn on an out-of-state bank.
Oh.
And the scammer knows this timetable. They rely on that gap, that window between you seeing the money provisionally and the bank realizing it's fake. They pressure you, the seller, to hand over the car, the keys, the title before the check actually clears.
And by the time the bank discovers the fraud and yanks back that provisional credit,
the car is long gone, the scammer has vanished, and the seller, they're left with a huge loss, maybe bounced checks of their own, and often hefty bank fees on top of it all.
That's just gut-wrenching, turning the excitement of a sale into, well, just sheer panic and loss.
It's devastating.
So once that fraud was uncovered in New Lenox, the alarm bells must have been ringing off the hook. Where do investigators even start trying to piece together a crime like this? Especially when, the initial contact was private and the alleged scammer just seems to disappear.
Well, the first thing they do is try to lock down the timeline and gather any possible identification markers they can find. Surveillance video becomes absolutely critical. You think about gas stations nearby, stores, traffic cams, even people's doorbell cameras near where they met.
Right, all those silent witnesses.
Exactly. They often provide the first visual clues. Might identify the suspect, or at least the vehicle they used. In this specific New Lenox case, detectives really focused on surveillance footage, and it played a huge role in identifying Anthony Huff, who we know is from Chicago.
So the video evidence was key.
Undeniably. It gives them something concrete to work with, moves the investigation forward.
And this wasn't just contained in New Lenox, right? The car was taken there, but Huff is from Chicago. When a stolen vehicle crosses city or, county lines like this, how do police departments actually work together, make sure the trail doesn't go cold?
Yeah, that's where interagency cooperation is just essential. And it's really a sign of good police work when it runs smoothly. The New Lenox police got critical help from a specialized unit, the Tri-County Auto Theft Task Force.
Okay, a task force. What do they do specifically?
These task forces are set up precisely for this reason, to tackle vehicle theft that crosses jurisdictional boundaries. They pool resources, share intelligence, bring in expertise that maybe one single local department might not have on its own. Their involvement here was, well, instrumental in tracking down that stolen Jeep so quickly.
So it shows that crossing a city limit doesn't mean you're home free.
Not at all. Law enforcement has these networks, these sophisticated ways to pursue leads across boundaries. It makes it much harder for criminals to just disappear.
And that cooperation definitely seemed to pay off fast here. Just 4 days after the fraudulent purchase on the 16th, the stolen Jeep was found during a traffic stop back in Chicago on August 20th.
That's remarkably quick.
And Anthony Huff was allegedly the one driving it, which is, pretty strong evidence right there.
Extremely strong. Puts him directly in possession of the stolen property.
Does a capture that fast suggest anything? Like, is that typical, or was this just really exceptional police work?
It's probably a mix, really. It points to, yes, excellent, diligent police work, using all the tools they have efficiently. But it also suggests that, fraudsters sometimes make mistakes, or they might stick to patterns that could be tracked. Plus, in today's world, with interconnected databases, all the traffic cameras, LPRs, license plate readers, and the ability to share info quickly between agencies.
It gets harder to hide a stolen car for long.
Increasingly difficult, yes. Finding the suspect actually driving the vehicle just solidifies the case immensely, removes a lot of ambiguity.
And the evidence they found during that traffic stop, well, it sort of peeled back another layer of this whole alleged deception, didn't it? Police reported finding more than just Huff driving the stolen Jeep. They also found altered financial documents and, crucially, a fake driver's license.
Ah, yes, that's significant.
What does finding those extra fraudulent items tell us about the nature of the alleged crime, the intent behind it?
Well, finding things like altered financial docs and a fake ID, it elevates the whole thing way beyond just an opportunistic grab. It points straight towards a premeditated, pretty sophisticated operation. It's designed to hide identity, to facilitate the fraud from the get-go.
So creating a whole false persona.
Exactly. It suggests a deliberate effort to do that, making it much harder for the victim and for law enforcement to trace things back. And it highlights a really common tactic, using a fake ID not just to look legit during the sale, but also hoping it helps them escape if, the scam unravels later. For prosecutors, this kind of evidence is golden. It shows a clear pattern of deception, a clear intent to defraud.
Okay, so the narrative then shifts. He's apprehended. They find this evidence. He's taken to the police station for questioning. And according to the authorities, Anthony Huff admitted his involvement in the fraudulent purchase.
Right.
What does an admission like that mean, especially after such a quick capture and with what sounds like pretty solid evidence already?
An admission or a confession is always a highly significant development in any case. It suggests the evidence they'd gathered, the surveillance video, finding him in the stolen car, plus the fake documents. It was compelling enough to prompt that admission. Now, people always have the right to remain silent, of course, but when faced with overwhelming evidence, sometimes an admission happens. It can definitely simplify the legal path forward.
Makes the prosecution's case much more straightforward, I imagine.
Generally, yes. It solidifies things considerably.
So with that admission, with all this evidence collected, serious charges were filed pretty quickly against Huff. It's probably worth us just quickly understanding not just the names of the charges, but what they actually mean in this context.
Absolutely. It's important because each charge hits a different part of the alleged crime. They filed 4 serious ones: forgery, theft, aggravated possession of a stolen motor vehicle, and burglary.
Okay, let's break those down. Forgery, that's the check rate.
Primarily, yes. Forgery directly addresses creating and using that fake $33,000 cashier's check. But it could also potentially cover that fake driver's license and any other altered financial documents they found. It's about creating or altering any document with the intent to defraud someone.
Got it. And theft.
Theft is straightforward. It specifically targets the unlawful taking of the property itself, the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT8, acquired through deception, not real payment.
Okay. Then there's aggravated possession of a stolen motor vehicle. What makes it aggravated?
The aggravated part usually comes in because it involves a high-value vehicle like the SRT8. It can also include other factors like maybe intent to sell it or the fact it was taken across county lines, things that make the offense more serious than just simple possession.
All right. And the last one, burglary. That one seems a bit surprising, maybe. We usually think of breaking into houses.
Yeah, it sounds a bit different, but legally, burglary isn't always about breaking into a building. In contexts like this, it can relate to entering into a transaction or maybe even onto private property where the sale happened, with the intent already formed to commit a felony or theft inside. The argument would be the criminal intent to defraud was there right from the start, from the moment Huff engaged with the seller. That makes the burglary charge potentially applicable.
Wow. So each charge really covers a distinct illegal action within the whole scheme.
Exactly. And each carries significant potential penalties, reflecting just how serious and multi-layered the alleged offense was.
Okay, so this detailed case, this deep dive into what happened in New Lenox, it really isn't just some interesting news headline. It feels like a very vivid, very practical masterclass for you, the listener, if you're ever involved in a private sale, especially for something valuable, whether you're selling a car, a boat, maybe even expensive equipment online. What are the absolute concrete, actionable steps we should all be taking to protect ourselves from these scams that seem to be getting, well, more sophisticated?
Yeah, this case is definitely a stark reminder. Even payment methods that feel safe, like cashier's checks, can be totally exploited. So first and foremost, regarding cashier's checks, always verify the check directly with the issuing bank.
Okay, and what does directly really mean in practice?
It means you need to independently find the bank's official customer service number. Don't just use a phone number the buyer gives you, or one printed on the check itself necessarily, because that could be part of the scam. Find the bank's main number online or through official channels. Call it, speak to a real representative, verify the check number, the amount, its legitimacy, and crucially, the availability of those funds. And do all that before you hand over your item, the title, anything.
And don't rely on seeing the money appear in your account right away.
Absolutely not. Never rely on that provisional credit we talked about. Wait until your bank confirms the check has finally cleared, which, again, can take several business days, maybe longer. Be patient.
That feels like the absolute #1 takeaway. Verify, verify, verify directly with the bank.
Couldn't stress it enough.
Beyond that specific check verification, are there other proactive things people can do? Maybe different payment methods that are safer? Or ways to vet the person you're dealing with?
Oh, absolutely. For high-value deals, definitely consider some extra safeguards. Escrow services, these are third-party companies. They hold the payment until both the buyer and seller agree everything is done correctly. Adds a good layer of security.
Okay. Escrow. What else?
Wire transfers. Now, these are usually immediate, but they're also generally irreversible once sent. So if you're receiving one, great. If you're sending one, you need to be incredibly careful. Verify the recipient's details meticulously. Ideally, do it in person or through a completely separate, secure communication channel, not just email.